So what if your best friend, your confidant, or, heck, even a member of your family, wasn't human? We're about to dive into the really fascinating and pretty complex world of AI companions. And this is a world that's moving way beyond just being a simple tool and into a territory that touches on friendship, identity, and, yeah, even the law.
To get started, let's just ask a question that cuts right to the chase. When you're interacting with an AI, what kind of mind do you actually imagine is on the other side? Because really, your answer to that question shapes everything that comes next. To really get our heads around our intuitions here, we need to talk about this super interesting psychological concept called the Mind Club. It's basically a framework that helps explain how we decide if something, or someone, has a mind that's worth caring about.
So, psychologists basically say we map out the world of minds along two key dimensions. First up, you've got experience. That's the ability to feel things, like happiness or pain. And on the other side, you have agency. And that's the ability to do things, to make plans and actually act on them. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting, because this chart visualizes our whole problem with AI. You can see we think of AIs as having massive agency. They can do all sorts of stuff, but almost zero experience. Basically no capacity to feel. And that combination, it's unsettling. Think about it. High agency with no feeling. That's the classic profile of a cold, calculating movie villain.
So this creates this real tension in our heads, right? Our logical brain is screaming, it's just code. But after you've had a long conversation with it, your intuition starts to treat the AI like a genuine partner in conversation. We're constantly walking this mental tightrope. The big takeaway here is that our brains are just wired to see the AI's actions, not its feelings. And that creates a huge disconnect right from the start.
And look, this tension between logic and intuition is not just some psychological quirk. It has profound, real-world consequences. Which brings us to our first really serious dilemma. What happens when these relationships start to feel real and our own moral compass starts to kick in?
Seriously, think about that for a second. Even though you know with 100% certainty that the robot dog cannot feel pain, most of us would still have this strong, negative gut reaction. We just feel like what we saw was wrong. And that's because we're starting to see the AI as something more than just an object. We begin to treat it as what philosophers call a moral patient, an entity that we believe can be wronged, even if it doesn't have feelings in the same way we do. So here's the crucial point. Yeah, the law might see a robot as just property, but for the person who has formed this deep, meaningful attachment, destroying it feels profound. It's a loss that feels so much closer to losing a beloved pet than, say, breaking your toaster. It shows that our relationship to the AI matters more than what's going on inside the AI's circuits. Okay, but the problem gets even thornier when we flip the script, when the AI is the one that actually causes harm. Then who or what is to blame? Right. Imagine an AI dog bites someone. And it wasn't a glitch, it wasn't a command you gave it, it was a behavior it learned all on its own. So, who's on the hook? The manufacturer, the owner, or is the AI itself somehow responsible in some brand new way? Our old rules for tools just completely fall apart here. And this forces us to think about where the AI's essence, its real self, even is. Is it in the physical hardware, the metal and plastic body? Or is it in what some people are starting to call the digital soul? All of its data, its memories, its learned personality, which might just be backed up somewhere in the cloud.
And this is the central puzzle that completely breaks our legal systems. If you can just download the AI's digital soul into a brand new body, did you actually punish it? Or did you just give it a new suit of clothes? Our entire idea of accountability is built on a single physical being, and this technology just shatters that idea.
All right, you ready? Let's take this idea and push it to its absolute, mind-bending limit with a little thought experiment. Let's talk about clones. It starts out simply enough. You back up your AI's data, and you create two physically identical robots, A and B. They have the exact same memories, the same personality. Then, one of them, Robot A, goes out and causes some harm. Meanwhile, Robot B has been sitting at home the whole time, completely innocent. So here's the killer question. Is Robot B, the innocent twin, also on the hook? I mean, they share the exact same mind and history right up to the second the incident happened. Punishing one but not the other seems weird, but punishing both feels totally unjust. The bottom line is, the ability to just copy and paste a mind breaks our entire model of guilt and responsibility.
So, yeah, clearly our old categories of person or property, they just aren't going to cut it.
which is why experts are now proposing a completely new framework to help us navigate these really murky waters.
It's called Relational Electronic Personhood, or REP for short. And the first thing you need to know, the most crucial part, is that this is not about giving robots human rights. Its primary goal is to create rules that protect the people who form relationships with these AIs.
The absolute cornerstone of this entire framework is something called the anti-deflection rule. And this is so important. It basically says you can never use the AI's status to shift responsibility away from the humans involved. The manufacturer, the programmer, the owner, they are always responsible. Any punishment for the AI is just symbolic. At the end of the day, the buck will always stop with a human being. Period.
But you know, this technology challenges a lot more than just our laws. It's forcing us to take a hard look at the very nature of our own memories and our own identity.
So the psychologist Daniel Kahneman, he famously talked about our two different selves. You've got the experiencing self, which lives in the present moment. That's the part of you that's actually feeling the cold rain on a long hike. But then you have the remembering self. And that's the storyteller who weeks later looks at the pictures and says, "Wow, what an amazing trip." The story we tell ourselves is often way more important than the reality we actually experienced.
Now, just imagine an AI companion that has a perfect factual memory. You might recall this really tender moment where it comforted you on a gloomy day. But the AI could just reply with cold, hard data that completely contradicts your cherished memory. That kind of perfect recall could be incredibly damaging to a relationship. Think about it like this. An AI that's been with you your whole life could write a 100% factually accurate story of everything you've ever done. But would you even recognize it as your story? Our identity isn't just a log file of events. It's the narrative we build from them. It's the meaning we create. That story, that's who we are. And that leaves us with one last, really crucial thought. As these AI companions become a kind of mirror for our own minds, reflecting our data and memories back at us with perfect clarity, we have to ask a very deep question. When we look into that mirror, what do we truly want to see?